What up, YouTube? T-Movies here. It's Thursday. That means time to talk about the new films opening in this weekend. Whether it's movies in theaters or Netflix, etc. And this is kind of a little bit dead for films. There's some films that sorry. Anyway, there's only one major wide release film, and there's mainly a few like limited release flicks. So anyway, here's the films opening this week. All right. First up is the new film that might get an Oscar nomination. Playmobil. Just kidding, it's not gonna get any nominations. I mean, this movie looks like a Lego ripoff. It looks very atrocious. I mean, you got a great voice cast that includes the likes of Daniel Radcliffe, Anna Taylor-Joy, the kid from that Child's Play reboot. He's actually a pretty good actor, but why you add great talent in a film like I'm actually gonna see this film maybe on a Tuesday, so I'll talk about that. But yeah. All right, now the rest of the films I'm gonna be talking about mainly go to like very smaller release this week. Anyway, one of which is a film called The Aeronauts, which takes place in 1982, and you got Eddie Redmayne. He plays this headstrong scientist James Glassler, and a wealthy young widow named Mila Wren, played by Felicity Jones, who mount a balloon expeditions to fly higher than anyone in history, and their perilous ascent reduces their chances of survival. And the unlikely duo soon discover things about themselves and each other's, and that help both of them to find their place in the world. This kind of looks pretty interesting. I mean, Eddie Redmayne and Felicity Jones have worked together before on that film, The Theory of Everything, which ended up winning Redmayne his first ever Oscar. I do like me a good hot air balloon based movie. You know, Up was pretty great. The balloon scene in The Wizard of Oz is iconic. So I'm kind of interested in the Aeronauts. I mean, I do love me a good true story film, so there's that. So I'll give this one a shot. All right. There's a horror film out this week called Daniel Isn't Real, which is about a troubled college freshman who resurrects his imaginary friends who help him cope with a violent trauma. It stars Patrick Schwarzenegger, who's of course the son of Arnold. It stars Tim Robbins' son, Miles Robbins. Got Sasha Lane in this. Kind of looks pretty creepy, intriguing. I like the cast involved, so there's that. I think this could be something pretty interesting to watch. So I'll definitely give this one a shot. All right. Also, out this week, there's a film called A Million Little Pieces, which is based on the book by James Frey, and it's about a young drug addled writer approaching the bottom of his descent. Submits to 2 months of extraordinary detox at a treatment center in Minnesota. And Wallace at the center, he meets an array of interesting characters. It's led by Aaron Taylor Johnson, who of course he is best known for stuff like Kick-Ass, Nocturnal Animals, Avengers, Age of Ultron. He's a cool actor, and you got some other interesting actors like you got Billy Bob Thornton, Giovanni Ribisi, Charlie Hunnam's in this, Juliette Lewis. I think this movie looks really terrific. Now the reviews aren't really necessarily all that great because I don't know why the reviews aren't great, but it's from director Sam Taylor Johnson, who last gave us the first 50 Shades movie. So, oof, yeah. But that's her real life husband, Aaron Taylor Johnson, so I'll probably give this one a shot. I mean, I do love me a good movie about addiction. Some about films about addiction, just, granted, I never really experienced with drugs or anything like that. But something about coping with addiction, something, I don't know, whether it's this or that, what was that Steve Carell movie that got released not so long ago? Beautiful Boy, I think it was called. That was pretty good. So I do get a kick out of addiction-based movies, so I'll probably give this one a shot. Alright, also out this week, there's a film called The Wolf Hour, which stars Naomi Watts, who plays a character named June, who was once a known counter-culture figure, but that was a decade ago, and now she lives alone in her South Bronx apartment, but cut herself from the outside world. It's also the notorious Summer of Sam, and June has to look out for her windows to see violence escalating with the brutal summer heat. The city is on a knife's edge, and a pressure cooker about to explode into the 1977 New York State blackout riots. Now, granted, I was not around here in 1977, but man, I remember hearing about the New York City blackout riots, and man, it was insane. And of course, it was around the summer. Sam, um, because there was a killer around who called himself the son of Sam. So there's that. So this looks like it could be pretty interesting. I mean, you got Naomi Watts in a very different and darker role I've ever seen her in. You also got Kelvin Harrison Jr., who worked with Naomi Watts in that movie Loose. I'm kind of interested in this. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be a good or not, but hey, it could be interesting to watch. All right. Also, at this week, there's a documentary called Midnight Family, which is about in Mexico City's wealthiest neighborhood. The Oka family runs a private ambulance, competing with other for-profit EMTs for patients in need of urgent help. As the Okas try to make a living in this fraud industry, they struggle to keep their dire finances from compromising the people in their care. Sounds interesting. I mean, I do love me a good documentary, so maybe that could be interesting. I'll probably give that one a shot. Alright, there's a French film out this week called Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which takes place in 1770, and it's about the young daughter of a French countess develops a mutual attraction to the female artist commissioned to paint her wedding portrait. Now, this film is being released by Neon, and they just had a really hit with another foreign film, which was Parasite. That's getting loads of Oscar buzz, so Neon's kind of having a bit of a interesting year. But I gotta say, Portrait of a Lady on Fire looks pretty intriguing. I mean, I don't really watch much French movies. There are a couple that I have seen that I thought was pretty good, and this kind of looks intriguing. I mean, it's a lead star Adele Haenel, I think that's her name. She looks great. I think the other cast looks interesting. I'll probably give this one a shot. All right. Also out this week, there's a film called I See You, which stars Helen Hunt, Owen T from It fame, Uda Lewis, who was in that movie The Babysitter. And it's about a strange occurrence plunged in a small town detective and his family as he investigates the disappearance of a teenage boy. So, yeah, this is like a kind of a bit in the vein of Prisoners in a way. Kind of literally sounds like Prisoners. But hey, I like Helen Hunt. I mean, she's also on that reboot of Mad About You, which I've actually seen episodes, and it's not all that bad. But I'll definitely watch it because Helen Hunt is in it, and who doesn't love Helen Hunt? So I'll definitely give this one a shot. Alright, there's a film out this week called Lil Joe, which is about Alice, who's a single mother, is a dedicated senior plant breeder at a corporation engaged in developing new species. Against company policy, she takes one home as a gift for her teenage son Joe. It also stars Ben Whishaw, who's of course in the new Bond film coming out. This looks really insane. I mean, yeah, this looks like it's gonna be part horror, part sci-fi. I'm kind of intrigued by it. Oh, there's a film out this week called Grand Isles, which stars Nicolas Cage and Kelsey Grammer, and it's about a young father who is charged for murder and must prove his innocence through recalling a very twisted and dark night of events. It stars Nick Cage, Kelsey Grammer. This movie looks like a horrible B action movie. I mean, Nick Cage has weird hair. There's like weird violence that occurs in this. I mean, yeah, it's your typical Nick Cage fashion. I mean, you know how crazy Nick Cage can get. But this could probably either easily be an interesting B action movie or just one of those action movies that's just plain old bad that you can't watch again. So I'll probably, maybe one of these days I'll give it a shot. I mean, I like Nick Cage, but sometimes he could be a hit and miss when it comes to these type of films. Alright. Also out this week, speaking of an actor who barely gives a crap anymore, it is a Bruce Willis film called A Trauma Center. Now, here's what this is about. Alone and trapped in a locked down hospital institution ward overnight, an injured young woman must escape a pair of vicious killers who are after the only piece of evidence that can implicate them in a grisly murder, the bullet in her leg. It also stars Bruce Willis, Nikki Whelan, Steve Gutenberg. How many is Steve Gutenberg on The Go-Verse, by the way? Anyway, this looks horrible. I mean, it's another Bruce movie where Bruce Willis looks like he doesn't even care anymore. I mean, yeah, Bruce Willis lately just him and Nick Cage are two actors who look like they rarely try anymore, and this looks pretty terrible. It looks like another generic B action film. Maybe it'll be good, who knows, but. And now, speaking of another actor who barely cares anymore, it is a Steven Seagal movie, and that is a film called Beyond the Law. Now, it's about a former mobster turned businessman and a police detective must contend with a dirty ex-cop looking to bring the killer of his son to justice. It stars the likes of Steven Seagal, DMX, Bill Cobbs is in this. Steven Seagal and DMX? Interesting combo. I mean, I like Steven Seagal, so anything... Like, lately, Steven Seagal has not had the best track record. I've always considered that Steven Seagal is not that great of an actor, but when he does action, he could do action. And I always get a kick out of Steven Seagal in films. So one of these days, I'll talk about Steven Seagal movies. I mean, he has some interesting films up his sleeve. But Beyond the Law does not look all that great. I mean, it does not look appealing. So, yeah. Alright, also out this week, there's a film called After Class, which is about a New York City professor who spends a week reconnecting with his family while defending his reputation over controversial behavior at his college. It stars Justin Long, Fran Drescher, and Richard Schiff. I mean, I like Justin Long, so that could be interesting. But this looks pretty interesting. I mean, you got Fran Drescher, from the Nanny fame. Richard Schiff is kind of an underrated actor. Like, how great is he on that show, The Good Doctor? So, this could be, like, an interesting little comedy, so I'll probably check it out. Alright, also out this week, there's a sci-fi horror film called The Mandela Effect, which follows a man who becomes obsessed with the fact that he has been collectively misremembered by a dozen of people, believing the phenomenon to be the symptoms of something much larger. His obsession eventually leads him to question reality himself. I mean, this could be interesting. It stars Robin Lord Taylor from who of course played Penguin on Gotham. Has a few other actors in this. I mean, this could be interesting, but the trailer didn't do much for me, so yeah. But I'll probably still give it a shot because I like Robin Lord Taylor. It looks pretty creepy, just I have no idea what the heck's going on in this film. Alright, also out this week, there's a film called In Fabric, which stars Moran, John Baptiste, and Gwendolyn Christie. And it's a haunting ghost story set against the backdrop of a busy winter sales period in a department store. So, anyway, in a department store and follows the life of a cursed dress as it passes from person to person with devastating consequences. So it's pretty much about a killer dress. That's all you need to know. And it is being released by A24, and A24 has some interesting horror stuff, whether it's Hereditary, it's Samara. So I'll probably give this one a shot. Alright, now last but not least, there's a Netflix film that's available on Netflix this week called Marriage Story. Now, this movie is technically in limited release this week, but it premieres on It actually ends up premiering on Netflix. This movie's already in limited release, but premieres on Netflix this week. And it's Noah Baumbach's film Marriage Story, which is a compassionate look at a marriage breaking up and a family staying together. It stars the likes of Scarlett Johansson, Adam Driver, Laura Dern, Alan Alda, Ray Liotta. Some interesting cast members. I think this movie looks really great. It's directed by Noah Baumbach, and I quite like Noah Baumbach, so him being involved in this, I'll definitely give a watch. Looks a little depressing, yes, but I'm down to check it out. I mean, it is getting loads of Oscar buzz, so definitely I should give it a shot because of that alone. But I'll probably give this one a go. Anyway, let me leave you guys. Which of these films are you interested in either in watching or just wait till it comes online or etc. Are you interested in Playmobil? I mean, maybe there are people who are interested in Playmobil. Are you looking forward to watch Marriage Story when it premieres on Netflix, etc.? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is T Movie signing off.